Good evening to all our participants. Welcome to today's webinar on MBA as a career. And we are from Constellation Training and Placement Services, and in partnership with our sister organization Study Break Academy, we are bringing this important topic for discussions today. Welcoming you once again and introducing our organization, Constellation Training and Placement Services. We were founded in 2011 by academicians and professionals, and we come from eminent institutes like the IITs and IIMs. We were incorporated in Kolkata and we work from Kolkata. However, our network consists of subject matter experts, trainers, facilitators spread all across the country. Constellation focuses on college training, assessments, on helping students with their career placement preparations, and MBA entrance examinations is an important part of that. We work with the corporates on corporate training, placements, as well as advisory and consulting. My name is Ranjan Kumar Majumdar, and I'm the founder and managing director of our organization. I'm very passionate about training and guiding students, and my forte is soft skills, career guidance. And today I have the honor to introduce Mr. Deepanjan Bhaumik. Mr. Bhaumik has been with us for a long time, assisting us in the area of aptitude test preparation. He comes from Study Break Academy, where he was one of the co-founders. Mr. Bhaumik has more than 10 years of experience in mentoring students for CAT and other management tests, and also key placement tests like the bank PO, government exams, foreign campus admission tests like the GMAT, GRE, and other campus recruitment tests. He is not only a trainer in the area of quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, logical reasoning, he has also assisted organizations like MCATs in their study materials and their preparation of their exams. Interestingly, he keeps taking the CAT exams to keep himself abreast of the changes in this important exam for admissions to premier MBA colleges in the country, and he has been regularly scoring 99 plus percentile in CAT. He's a BTech in computer science and engineering from NIT Silchar and has worked in organizations like Time, where he has taken the subjects of MBA entrance examination. And currently, as I have mentioned, he is with Study Break Academy. Talking about Constellation and how we work together with Study Break Academy in bringing very placement-oriented courses for students. Students who are graduating, students who are looking for placement or for higher studies. These are the kind of courses we have in our bouquet of offerings: the aptitude test preparation, coding-oriented IT courses, soft skills guidance, communicative English. We teach communicative English with inputs from Cambridge Learning. We are their resellers and training partners. And we have assessments in the areas of aptitude test preparation, coding tests, and English. So with that bouquet of courses and training material, We offer a complete 360 degree of courses which are important for placements. All our courses are on our digital platform, on our learning management system, and they are self-learning oriented. So you can take our course and learn yourself. However, we also provide online physical classes, doubt clearing classes to help you in your learning. So having said that, let us talk a little bit on Study Break Academy, our partners who are specialists in CAT and other MBA entrance examinations. As you see, they have been doing very well, and you have 100 percentiler in CAT 23, as well as on the right, you have the pictures of the other candidates who have scored very well in the CAT exams and taken admissions in premier management institutes across the country in the last 2 years. Study Break Academy courses consist of like 900 topic and replica tests, 10,000 plus practice questions, 20 plus CAT mock tests with analysis, 30 plus practice CAT mock tests, 100 mock other management examination tests, one-to-one doubt clearing. That's very important for Constellation, for Study Break, that we provide the opportunity for the students to come directly to the trainers and mentors and clear their doubts. The batch sizes are very small, 15 students per batch. The medium of instructions can be online or in the physical classes at the Kolkata Center of Learning. Study Break Academy has a very competitive price in the market, and you can also avail of EMIs for paying off your fees. On the right, you have faculties, and they have long years of experience in teaching management entrance examination courses, and they come from very good institutes across the country. Now, today, what shall we talk about? We shall talk about MBA as a career, preparations for the MBA entrance examinations, and specifically the leading MBA entrance examination across the country, the structure and subject areas of the exams, the structure of CAT, challenges of the preparation for CAT. How do we plan for the preparation? How do we plan for going through the rigors of this preparation? And what has SBA got to offer? What has Study Break Academy got to offer? If I would talk about MBA as a career, it's very interesting that after graduation, a very large number of students across the country, a large number of working professionals who have spent anything between 1 to 10 years in their jobs seek MBA as a course. And that's very interesting. Interesting because the MBA course, the management course, gives an edge in your career. MBA students are usually seeked across the industry as leaders. They are management professionals. They are leaders who can take important roles in the business, which usually doesn't come with a graduation course or even a post-graduation course, which is not like an MBA. In the MBA course, you have subjects which are quite widespread. You learn finance. You may not be a finance person. You might be coming from an engineering, but you learn finance. You learn marketing. And usually, marketing is not really a subject which is taught in graduation unless perhaps you come from a bachelor's in business administration. You are a BBA students. Only then perhaps you learn about marketing. You learn operations. You learn logistics. You again learn HR, a subject which again does not appear in most graduation courses. So you find that you are learning a lot of areas, and when you are exposed to the corporate, you are able to understand the nuances of business better. Hence, MBA as a career, MBA as a course is well sought after by students and very well sought after by the corporate for giving you leading important managerial roles in the organization at the same time, I would say the salaries are higher. The compensation packages are higher, and hence that is also an incentive for students to go for an MBA in their career. So, having said that and given you an introduction of ourselves and where we come from, as well as laying the background for MBA, let's now get into discussion more with our expert, Mr. Vomik, and discuss about the preparations that is involved in the exams. So, welcome, Mr. Vomik, once again. And thank you for joining us in this webinar today.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, sir.
You're welcome. So, shall we talk about these MBA exams and the leading exams which are happening in India? And we could start from there.
Okay. There are actually many different tests all throughout India, but first, possibly every student will come across the name of CAT, Common Admission Test. Right. There are, I would say, mostly two reasons for that. Why CAT is so famous among all the MBA entrance tests. First of all, obviously, there are 21 Indian Institute of Managements in India now. So admissions in those B schools will be through CAT only. So that is the primary requirement. And the second thing is, if I look at almost around all the 3,000, 4,000 B schools all throughout India, most of them, they accept CAT scores. So even if I move out of the realm of the IIMs, still there are many, many different B schools in India. All of them accept CAT. So that's why CAT will be so-called the topper of all the B schools.
And the most popular
The most
entrance exam.
popular, absolutely.
Yeah.
Then we have XAT also, Xavier's Aptitude Test. Then Xavier's Aptitude Test will be conducted by XLRI. We all know about XLRI Jamshedpur. Then there is SNAP under the Symbiosis umbrella. So there are many different colleges under Symbiosis. So all of them accept SNAP scores. Then we have IIFT also, Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. And last year in CAT 2023, what happened is they did not organize their own test. That was the
Okay.
first time they did not organize their own test. They took CAT scores only. So probably they'll come back this year. Probably, I'm not sure. Maybe this year or next year. So, but IIFT is a very, very good B school, extremely good B school. It's named among the top 10 B schools in India. And the test is also quite a standard one. Okay. So then we have NMAT also. NMAT is organized by Nasim Monjee Institute of Management Sciences, Mumbai. And mainly people take NMAT to go to NMIMS Mumbai only, but there are other B schools also, like KJ Somaya, XIMB, they also accept scores of NMAT. Then, except that, we have the biggest exam collaboration coming up that's called CUET.
Yeah.
So under
CUET.
CUET, like TIS, if you talk about Tata Institute of Social Sciences, they've already started considering CUET scores. So
Right.
eventually, many other institutes might get involved with CUET later on. That will be a must for them. Then there are other tests like MAT, CMAT. If I talk about the second tier colleges, then these are the tests that students can go for. There is a specific test called MyCat
My cat. Okay.
for Mudra Institute in Ahmedabad. Like if somebody thinks he or she is a bit creative, like advertisement skills, media
Mm-hmm.
communication, if somebody wants to do
Right.
an MBA in those topics, then MICA is probably the number one all over India. Their tests are also a bit different. The things that they test in the exam, that's also a bit different. So these are mostly the Indian, I would say, MBA entrance tests that I can talk about. There are others also, obviously, globally, if we go for it, then we have GMAT. There are many B schools all throughout the world who accept GRE scores also now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So these are mostly the tests we can think about if somebody's thinking about preparing for an MBA.
So in this scenario that you have just mentioned,
Yeah,
um, a student could get confused. So which
absolutely.
test to appear, which test to draw, which test structure to follow. Um, so hopefully there is a solution. Hopefully that the test more or less follows a similar structure. I hope. Of course, there could be differences. So can we talk about the structure of management tests and then we can deep dive a bit more on the CAT format.
Absolutely. The biggest advantage for all these MBA entrance tests is there. So first of all, they don't provide any so-called syllabus. They don't have any contents as such. So whatever we get to know about these tests is all from the previous year papers only. Right. So they have made it a benchmark that the questions will be pertaining to the subjects which we have gone through till class 10 only. And logically, that's correct because above class 10, people have different ways of careers, right? They
Right.
diverge. So when once they diverge, so obviously the same question paper might not be suitable for everybody. So till class 10, they maintain that wholeheartedly. And the so-called syllabus for all the tests, I would say it's 95% same,
Right.
right? The difficulty levels might be up and down a bit. Like if I talk about aptitude preparation in India, I would say CAT will hold the highest position. So if
That's the
somebody
most
prepare,
most complex or the difficult one. Okay.
I won't say most difficult one,
Okay.
but the like if you look at the entire so-called syllabus, the volume of the syllabus, the different kinds of questions they have experimented upon, the different types of concepts which they have tried upon, like in throughout all these years, and specifically the type of questions they ask under data interpretation and logical reasoning,
Okay.
that actually requires like enormous amount of practice, right? I won't say that requires a lot of intelligence. No, that will be a wrong term here. It's actually you require an enormous amount of practice all throughout the year or for the tenure for which you are preparing, right? So if I talk about the structure, I can basically think about six sections altogether.
Okay.
First will be quantitative ability, where
Right.
they mostly ask about mathematical questions which we have gone through till class 10. So any practical scenario wherever some quantity is involved, that comes under quantitative ability. Then we have data interpretation. Data interpretation, as the name suggests, there will be some data provided in various formats. Data can be provided in the form of a tabular format or bar graph. line graph, pie charts, Venn diagrams, scatter plot, bubble graph. There are many different ways. So data will be there in front, and there will be there may be some extra data also written in English, and there will be questions pertaining to the data given. So there will be calculations involved also. So those kinds of questions come under data interpretation.
Right.
Logical reasoning is primarily based on, like, we must have done, everybody must have done some puzzles during their childhood, right? Let's say there are five boys, they are wearing shirts of five different colors, they belong from five different cities. Now we match which
Yeah.
boy is wearing which color of shirt and he belongs from which city. So that's just a very basic idea about logical reasoning. Like,
Correct.
once we go deeper into it, then we'll discover more things, right? So logical reasoning mostly deals with situations where uh, one has to apply common sense, has to apply logic. There is nothing that somebody has to remember here. It's purely application based. And at times, there might be some number crunching also inside. So you can
Okay.
say, from the perspective of CAT, there will be a miniature version of a case discussion whenever we are talking about data interpretation and logical reasoning.
Okay.
Then we have verbal ability. Now, verbal ability, often people confuse it for English.
That's
English
right.
that we have studied till class 10. But I would say, at least from the perspective of CAT, it's not at all English. Like, if somebody takes up the question papers, the recent question papers of CAT, and goes through the verbal ability questions, he or she'll understand that even inside a reading comprehension, there is logic. Like, there is not even a single question which is purely based on concepts of English grammar only. There's absolutely no question like this. The entire paper is based on verbal logic, I would say.
But
So
okay.
somebody has to read throughout the passage, understand what the author might be thinking about whenever he has tried to explain it with this kind of a statement. Was he sarcastic? Was he negative about it? Was he positive about it? So all these things need to be understood. And mostly, if somebody thinks about CAT, the entire verbal ability paper is dependent upon paragraph reading only. So different forms of questions, but all of them are related to paragraphs only. And if we go through all the other tests, let's say ZAT, SNAP, etc., everywhere there will be certain changes with respect to CAT. The CAT paper will be slightly different from all the other papers, though the so-called syllabus is exactly same. There's absolutely no difference. Then we can come across two other sections which mostly students ignore from the
Okay.
starting of their preparation. One of them is decision making, which is
Okay.
specifically a ZAT based section. This
I
section
see.
doesn't appear in any other test. Now, in decision making, what happens is, again, they'll give you an entire scenario which will look like a reading comprehension passage, where the student has to take, obviously, uh, regarding that passage, there will be certain questions given, but those questions will mostly be decision based. That in
Okay.
this kind of a scenario, which of the following do you think will be the optimized decision? So
Okay. So
likewise,
the
there will be multiple questions based on the passage, based on the situation.
so that sounds a bit tricky. I mean, it's not like a
Absolutely.
read. It's not like a reading comprehension kind of,
No.
where you go through a passage and the questions, even if it is tricky, you can make out from the passage. Sometimes the answers are directly lifted from the passage I've seen. But in a reading comprehension, if you are following certain rules and you can go through it, mark it out, and then answer pretty quickly. But here, I think you have to really think through it and even think
Absolutely.
through it logically and come up with a decision which may or may not correspond to what the examiner is expecting.
And think about that, sir, that the decision has to be one particular decision because the
It
answer
is a
has
one.
to be one option.
Correct.
Whoever will be setting the paper, he'll be doing it that much logically that you have to think about exactly that logic only. Then and only
Correct.
then you'll be able to get that answer.
Right. Very interesting.
And the worst part is XLRI has got quite a high percentile requirement for decision making also.
Okay.
So that much basic criteria has to be fulfilled. Then and only then you get a call from XLRI. Otherwise, no. So sectional cutoffs are also there. Okay, then the final section, which is possibly the most ignored section, that's general knowledge. General knowledge, current
Okay.
affairs.
Okay.
Now, what happens is after like getting into quants, DI, LR, verbal, students get so much involved with them that they actually cut themselves off from whatever is happening around. Now, after taking CAT, let's say after taking SNAP also, the moment they think about ZAT, January 1st Sunday, that's the day for ZAT, then they realize, okay, there are two sections in ZAT which I have to appear for, but maybe I'm not that well prepared for them. One of them is
Okay.
decision making, one of them is general knowledge. And even if, let's say, as I talked about IIFT, if IIFT exam is conducted again, IIFT also has a separate section on general knowledge.
Okay.
And once somebody moves into the interview, group discussion, case discussion arena, then current affairs is a must there.
Absolutely.
Absolute must.
Absolutely. I mean,
So,
this is what even for our students who are taking the placement exams for different
oh,
companies.
absolutely.
So we emphasize that you need to uh, be abreast of what is happening around you in India, in the world, and you know you have to keep at it. You know you cannot all of a sudden wake up and start to mug things up. It will never happen. And so this is an area which I believe one has to constantly practice in terms of mostly reading, but maybe look at some of the general knowledge books and refresh memories of certain things, maybe past incidents, maybe buildings, maybe architecture. I mean, general knowledge is itself a very, very vast area. Yeah,
Absolutely. For current affairs, I still think the old school way is the best way. Like you have to read newspapers every day.
correct.
Every morning you have to go through the newspaper. I'm not saying the entire newspaper, but you have to take up the headlines, like whatever is happening all throughout the country, the business news, if any, related to politics, geopolitics, sports, anything, everything. So these things, and let's say to gather more knowledge, you can always take up the headline and search in YouTube. There will be thousands of videos there. So gathering information has become quite easy these days. But that old school way of reading the newspaper, this not only helps in current affairs, but this helps in reading comprehension also, verbal
Absolutely.
ability.
Verbal
So
ability.
I still
And
feel
of course, in the group discussions
absolutely,
and
absolutely,
even in the interviews. Yeah.
absolutely.
So you can expect questions. And a lot of group discussion topics are from current
Yes,
affairs.
yes,
Yeah. So so that's interesting. So sir, what you just gave an idea of a very comprehensive idea of all the exams and the formats for all of them. And there is a lot of hope that you know a student who prepares mostly on the aptitude part in terms of the quants, quantitative, the logical reasoning, the data, and verbal is able to cover most of the tests. And there are certain exams where they would like to need to have uh, a little bit more focus and specifically take them up in terms of the decision making exam, the section you said, as well as the general awareness exams section in which appears in quite a few exams you said. So having said that, so now it's very clear that how what are the areas one has to study. Let's now get into a little bit more deeper into the CAT format and look at the four sections, as you said, which CAT provides. And within that, I mean, is there a weightage? Is there more importance in certain sections, less in others? So let's kind of get into that. We could also talk about the kind of scores that are required for qualifying and getting
Sure.
a place in one of the eminent institutes of the country.
Okay. First of all, if I go through the exam format of CAT, right now the format that presently they are going to, that is a 2-hour format, and 2 hours will be divided into 3 different sections with 40 minutes each. So 120 minutes over, altogether. It's an online test. Almost every test nowadays is an online test.
Correct.
So it starts with verbal ability, 40 minutes of verbal ability. Then automatically it moves to data interpretation and logical reasoning section. Again, 40 minutes. Then automatically it moves to quantitative ability. 40 minutes, exam over. Right. So for the first 40 minutes, when you are in verbal ability part, you can move across all the questions. But once you have switched over to any other section, you cannot
Okay.
move back to the previous section. That is
You
not
can.
allowed.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. In verbal ability, nowadays they are giving 24 questions. And in data interpretation, they are giving 20 questions. And in quantitative ability, they are giving 22 questions. So altogether, there are 66 questions. Each question carries 3 marks. So I can say a maximum marks of 198. That's
Okay.
what CAT has structured the paper into. They have negative marking also. They actually have 2 different types of questions. One of them is the multiple choice question, MCQ, where there will be options and one of the options is correct. And the other one is TITA, type in the answer. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
they'll
Yeah.
actually make a box after the question. So whatever is your answer, you have to input that answer in the box. So there will be that numpad where you can select the numbers and place the number inside the box.
But you are not given the options. Like
No,
these
no,
are the four options. You type
no, no,
this
no,
one.
no.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
I mean,
let's
if you are
say,
given options, then it is becoming an MCQ, right?
exactly. Now
Right.
that's why the advantage and disadvantage. Like in
Okay.
MCQ, they have negative marking, but in TITA, they do not have any negative marking.
That's an
So
advantage.
in MCQ, if somebody makes a correct option, answers the correct option, then he gets 3 marks for it. But if the answer is incorrect, then there's a -1 negative attached with it. But
Okay.
in case of TITA, if it's correct, then 3 marks. If it's incorrect, then no marks are deducted.
So that's an advantage. So these theta kind of questions, one should completely answer all of them.
Absolutely, one should.
One should.
But the disadvantage is, see, whenever you have options, you know that the answer is in front of me, right? Whenever you have options. Now, in case of a theta, let's say, for example, the answer for a question, you got the answer as, let's say, 10,000. There was some calculation error
Correct.
in your entire solution, because of which you got the answer as 10,000. Maybe the actual answer is 100, quite possible.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
when you have the options, you will at least get an idea that, okay, my answer is incorrect. Maybe I should recheck or go through the calculations once again. But in
Very correct.
theta, you don't have that option. So whatever is your answer, you have to trust that, okay, this is my answer. So advantage, disadvantage, both of them are there in case of theta
Correct.
and CQ, both of them.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Now, as you talked about, like, is there a weightage for each and every section that this is more important or
Sir,
something?
sir, weightage and are there cutoffs for each section or there is a cutoff for the entire test? How is that?
Actually, cutoffs are not for tests. Cutoffs are mainly for the colleges, for the B
Oh, okay.
schools.
Okay.
Now, the B
Okay.
schools, they tell you that, okay, you have to you have to make your scores as even as possible. Overall, there will be a cutoff, and section wise, there will be a different cutoff. Let's say if I talk about a B school of the stature of IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, they'll put something like 80 percentile as a sectional cutoff for each and every one of the sections. And
Okay.
overall, that depends upon a lot of factors. Whether you are a general candidate, whether your class 10, 12 marks were good enough,
Okay.
uh, like many, whether you have work experience. So many of these contribute to give them a particular cutoff. But I would say a student should never think about whatever is the cutoff, because it's a number which he doesn't have any control over. The college has
That's
the
right.
entire control over it. And if he thinks about that number, then he'll always restrict himself to solve a particular number of questions only. And if he, let's say, he is not able to reach that number, then it'll eat up his confidence. That should never be the scenario. There can be question papers where the question paper is eventually made difficult with the agenda that at a lower score, you will get a higher percentile. So if somebody has already thought about that, okay, out of 198, I have to score 100 marks to get 99 percentile, then he'll constantly keep on thinking about, like, I should answer more than 100. I
Right.
should answer, let's say, around 110, 112, because I know some of the questions will be incorrect. But the question paper is so difficult that he's not able to answer. That will make him panic more inside the examination hall. So that is strictly a no-no. That you can, okay, fine, you can put some research that, okay, last year in 2023, only 76 marks were required for a 99 percentile. In 2022, only 84 marks were required for a 99 percentile. 2021, 96 marks were required for a 99 percentile. Whatever it tells you, you can do the basic research work, but you cannot hold on to it while taking the test, because every
Right.
year the difficulties will keep on changing. So you don't have
Yeah.
any control over it.
Year to year, it varies. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So typically, when you're saying you're looking at about 80 to 90, 100 range, so it would translate to answering how many questions correctly?
Okay. That is also a pretty good question. But again, that cannot have one particular answer, because every year this will keep on changing. Like if I talk about CAT 2023, you had to answer only 15 questions, 1 5. That is 5 questions per section. That fetched you a 90 percentile marks.
Okay.
15 questions, that gives you 45 marks, 15 into 3. So I'm
Okay.
assuming all 15 are correct. That way, somebody could score 90 percentile marks.
That's very good. He can get into quite a number of very good B schools, right?
Absolutely. 90 percentile is a magical score in CAT.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
the thing is, the student won't know about it while taking the test. That,
Right.
okay, the paper is like this much marks will give me this much percentile. Nobody can make an assumption like that, right?
Mm.
That's why the student has to keep his mind open, that I don't have a target as such, that these are the total number of questions I'll answer. Rather, I'll think of maximizing my total number of answers. Wherever I find an easy question, I'll definitely answer it.
Okay.
Wherever I feel like, okay, this question might not be easy, but it's not that difficult also. It lies somewhere in between. I know I can answer, but maybe a bit lengthy. Maybe I have to think a bit more. That's called a medium level question. I'll mark it. I'll come back to it later. And
Great.
whenever there is a question where, okay, maybe I have absolutely no clue about what the question is asking about, maybe it's from a chapter which I haven't even touched, or I'm not confident enough in that chapter. So that question becomes difficult for me. Discard it. So as soon as possible, discard it. You should not waste even an extra second on it. So somebody who can leave out questions very, very easily, like he can understand that this is something which I cannot do quickly, he's the one who will get a very good percentile, right? Because if you calculate out of 198, somebody getting 76 scored a 99 percentile, that means he is not answering 122 marks. So
Right.
you have to be very, very good at leaving the questions, right?
And there are quite a few options. I mean, each section, as you say, has about 20 to 24
Oh,
questions. So,
absolutely.
so I would have to take about 40 to 50%
Max.
maximum of that. That should be enough. That should be good.
That's
So,
far more
so,
than enough.
so that's the strategy one has to do. And but one has to be very careful that the ones you are answering, you should be very sure because there is a negative marking.
Yes, accuracy matters a lot. Because not every student will be, very good in all the sections. That might not be the case, right? So maybe if somebody feels that, okay, I'm not that confident in quants, then what he or she has to do is they have to be cautious. They know that their number of attempts in quants will be less, but it cannot be that less also, right? It has to, like, as I said earlier, the scores need to be as even as possible.
Very correct.
So it has to be somewhat like, okay, I can answer 10, I can answer 11, 12, but I'll ensure that all of them are correct. So
Very
that is
correct.
somebody has to look for whenever you feel that, okay, this is a weaker section for me.
Dipanjan sir, you're making things comfortable. That's a nice feeling that it's not extremely difficult. Um, when I went to IIM Calcutta uh, many years back and had to go through the um, same rigor. But I believe the challenges are more nowadays with online systems and the amount of competition being, of course, much more. But the interesting part of it still, I feel, remains in the exams. So, having discussed the different exams, the different formats of exam, and looking at the strategies and how much to score, what to leave, what not to, attempt, and all that. So let's now look at uh, the preparation part of it, and what are the challenges in um, the preparation for these MBA exams, especially CAT, and how do I plan for it? When do I start? What is the right time to start? How do I go about planning for it? So one is the challenges of this preparation, and the second part is the planning part of it. If you could highlight some of the aspects
Okay.
around that.
Uh, Being a student, I guess the first challenge that he or she will face is to sit and study for at least around 2 to 3 years, 2 to 3 hours every day consistently. That is the first challenge that any student will face, because mostly the students that we are talking about, they are graduate students, or maybe they're working professionals. So if they are working professionals, then definitely they have quite a hectic work schedule all day. Now, if somebody is working for let's say 10 to 12 hours a day, then after that, finding out time or finding out the motivation to sit for studying after that, that takes a lot of effort. That takes a
Yes,
lot of effort, right?
that is true.
And after getting that motivation, you maintain that accountability that no, I'll do it every day. Every day I have to sit for it. There is not even a single day in my preparation where I did not prepare anything for CAT. There was not even a single day like that. I kept myself out of social media. I kept myself out of all kind of distractions possible, and I focused only on one particular test every day. So that takes an enormous amount of effort from the mind. I won't say like that requires a hell lot of physical effort, no, but to get one's mind straight that yes, I want it. And if I want it, it's a national level test. So I have to work hard for it. There's no other alternative.
So, sir, it's I think a combination of determination and discipline. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have to be determined, and I have to be disciplined. And interestingly, I'll share with you is these two aspects have not changed from the time in the early 90s when I gave my CAT exam. So I had to be determined, and I had to spend that 3 hours every day. And sir, most interesting point that you have made is that I cannot, even if I am a working professional, I can't take a 1 month leave and do it then and say, okay, I'll take that 30 days leave and I prepare very well and complete the course, it just doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't. It has to
So-
be regular. It has to be a regular, just like an athlete practices. Only then he or she can do 100, 200, or 400 meter.
Absolutely.
So he has to put in that effort each and every day. Otherwise, his muscles won't remain the way it is needed to remain. Similarly, your brain and your thinking power and your ability to solve things fast, it won't happen. So one has to put in that effort every day.
As we all know, like some things are evergreen, some things have to go the old school way. The
Yeah,
systems might change, but like, the intent cannot change. The intent has to remain the same all throughout. And if we talk about the preparation time, that how much time does a student require to prepare, I would say, like, in the past 10 years, I've seen like more than, I would say, 10, 15,000 students preparing for it. Many of them, like, there are many different timelines people can follow. Somebody, and now that also depends upon the confidence that the person has on the subjects. If somebody thinks that, okay, no, I have not been in touch with the subjects, with the sections that we have discussed for maybe quite a long period of time, and I think from inside, I think I have lost confidence in the subjects, I need to regain that. Then you require some more time. Let's say somewhere around 1 to 1.5 years of entire preparation will be required. 1.5 will be ideal. 1.5 years gives you enough time for your basics so that when you start taking the mocks, you are fully prepared. That, okay, I have covered 90% of the topics. Now, the difficulty of the mock only depends upon the difficulty of the question, not the difficulty of the concepts, because I know all the concepts. So if somebody is thinking that, okay, my confidence level is low and I have not been in touch with these things for quite some time, then I guess 1.5 years will be quite an ideal time. Now, 1 year can also be an ideal time, again, depending upon if a student thinks that, okay, I have taken these kinds of questions recently. Maybe the students who, prepare for campus recruitment, they already go through an entire aptitude thing, aptitude
they
course.
do.
They
They
already
do.
go through this.
Correct. Correct.
Now, once they go through this, they already develop some sort of confidence that, okay, age problems, I know how to solve them. Time and work, time, speed, and distance, I know how to solve them. At least the basic questions, I can definitely answer them. For them, the time period might be a bit smaller, again, depending upon the kinds of engagements they have, otherwise
Absolutely.
engagements. For
Correct.
someone who is a working professional, he has to be very, very strict about his schedule. Like if I'm working from 9:30 to, let's say, 6:30, 7:30 for office, then
Correct.
what is exactly the time which I can dedicate towards CAT preparation? Some people think that, okay, I can study better at night. Some people think that, no, I'll wake up early and study in the morning. So it depends upon which one you are. You are a night
Absolutely.
person or you are a morning person. So, but you have to find out those 3.5 hours of daily preparation. One should think about a weekly schedule. One should not think about a daily schedule. Daily schedule doesn't work generally. So in a week, if I can spend somewhere around, let's say, 25 hours, or maybe a bit more than that, 28, 30 hours for CAT preparation, then you divide it according to the sections that, okay, among these 28, 30 hours, these many hours I have to dedicate towards quants because I think I'm not really that confident in quants. So I have to
Absolutely.
spend a bit more time there. Then general knowledge should be something which should be read in the morning, I think, with your breakfast and tea. It's always comfortable that you have the newspaper in front, and uh, everything is available online these days. So you don't even need to, buy the newspaper. So you
Right.
can get it
Absolutely.
online, you can read it then and there. So you have to develop these habits, these small disciplinary actions right? They'll add up to, change you as a human being within 6 months. And your entire preparation depends upon that. So I would say you can keep a benchmark of somewhere around 5 to 6 months to 1.5 years, depending upon which scenario you are in right now and the amount of distractions. I won't say distractions, the amount of engagements, other engagements
Engagements.
you have.
Right.
So, how much time you can provide.
And your commitments and engagements, which
Because there will be three different sections for your entire preparation. The first will be for basics, the second will be for mocks, and the third will be after the test for GDPI. So let's keep that for later on. Even if I talk about the first two, in the first two, how much time do you think you will take to cover the basics? It all depends upon that, because anyhow, if you take any of the mocks from any of the institutes, they start generally during April, May, and CAT is generally scheduled for November. So that much time you have to devote for taking mocks. So before that, or in between April to November, how many months can you spare for basics? That is what everything depends upon.
and so the exam is held only once a year. That is in
Yes.
November.
Yes.
It is held in
Like
once
in
a year.
Snap, you can take 3 attempts. All the 3 attempts you can take in December. They'll give you specific
Okay.
dates. And let's say in NMAT also you can take 3 attempts.
Okay.
You can actually take the number of attempts and book the schedule accordingly in NMAT. And it's a computer adaptive test. So it's slightly like GMAT. The conducting body is also same. So otherwise, and there's another test called MAT. MAT is also scheduled 4 times in a year: September, December, February, and May. Otherwise, rest of the tests they happen once only, once in a year.
That's great. That's great. So we have talked about planning the preparation, having the right mental state, the determination to do it, and it gives a feeling of comfort. It's doable. It's not something which is extremely
Absolutely,
difficult.
absolutely.
It's doable by everybody, and uh, and we have seen how the things. Now, interestingly, you mentioned that you have a 99 plus score. So do you go for this exam every year? Do you appear for that every year?
Every year,
Every year.
like
And
none
and
of
and
the
is that something you do, or the other faculty members of your
everybody,
institute?
every
Everybody.
faculty member.
So you made it mandatory. You've made it mandatory that you have to. And well, congratulations to get 99 plus every year. So, Mr. Bhaumik, you are aware of the trends. You are aware of how things are changing in the patterns, and so that really gives you an edge when you're training and teaching. And since you actually take the test, you know the challenges that one
Yes,
feels, that you can
yes.
address them. That's congratulations. That's really good about your institute. Now let's talk about Study Break Academy, your institute, and what kind of interventions you do. Do you have online course, offline course? How do you get your students to prepare along with you? What are the kind of offerings you have which you feel is quite special and which would be very useful to your students?
Okay. Yes, we offer both offline as well as online classes, both of them. And still, my way of looking at the preparation is still a bit old school, because I still feel in offline the interaction is far better than online classes. But again, if somebody is that much motivated in online classes also, then I don't think there is any such problem as such.
Mhm.
Uh, Regarding offline, we have made a strict rule. Not only offline, we follow that in online also, that in a particular classroom, we don't have more than 15 students, 15. And that is based on our previous experiences in different institutes that we have uh, taught in. So we have seen that uh, inside a classroom, obviously, everybody is not a topper. Everybody will not get into IIM Ahmedabad, or everybody will not get into FMS Delhi. And that's a fact. That's practically a fact everybody should accept. But there are many students who are actually capable, provided they are pushed properly. Now, once you have 40, 50, 100 students in a batch, the problem that happens is there are many students who do not actually feel comfortable in communicating with the faculty member. And for the faculty member also, it becomes extremely difficult to communicate with all the 50, 60 students sitting in front of him. So eventually the thing becomes very mechanical. The connect with the students, that doesn't really develop when you have way too many students sitting in front of you. Now, that's why, and that is something which we have actually encountered. Like how many thousand times, I don't even remember, but we have seen that. That's why we have made it mandatory that in a batch at Study Break Academy, we'll ensure that it has to be the maximum limit of number of students in a batch has to be 15. We cannot go more than that. That's the first thing. Second thing is, you'll observe that whenever the student faculty ratio becomes absurd, then what happens is the interaction with the faculty outside the classroom becomes almost zero, right? You'll get the faculty member only in the classroom. After the class is over, you don't get to interact with him because there are way too many students and a few faculty members only. So even they don't have time to interact with everybody. So here, what we have done is we have, first of all, made ourselves like completely available to the students 24/7. That's the first thing. Secondly, we have made one rule for the students that the center is open for you 7 days a week. It's not that you have a class only on Saturday 10 to 12, 12 to 2, Sunday 10 to 12, 12 to 2. So you can come to the center only for these 4 hours. It's not mandatory at all. You can come to
Okay.
the center whenever you want to, because a student might have many different types of issues, which maybe he or she is not comfortable in explaining inside a classroom. So you can come up to the center, you can call up the faculty member, you can sit with him for some time, discuss all the problems in the minutest way possible, and get the solution as much as possible. So and also there are many other things, like let's say form filling. Form
Mm.
filling, generally initially students don't understand how much important it is. Form filling. Form filling for an exam, form filling for a college, for a B school. A B
Right.
school will ask you many different kinds of questions. They might even ask you to write an SOP, a statement of purpose, or they might have personality related questions also. Now, they don't understand one thing, that once they have written those answers, they cannot deviate from those answers in the actual interview. In the
Absolutely.
actual interview, if they say something else, then it's contradictory. So your admission comes at stake. So there are many
So,
things which they have
that's
to
very
take
important.
care of. So that's why we generally ask the students to come to the center directly and interact with us while filling the forms, for the B schools also, and anything related to any sort of exams. So we can proudly say that our interaction with the students is possibly the most. So you'll hardly find any place, any institute outside where the interaction is this much. So that is something we are quite proud of. And other than that, obviously, for preparation, whatever is required, the total number of questions, the total number of mocks you require, we give a portal which has around 900 tests. So sectionals, then full length mock tests for each and every test that you require. So overall, it's around 900. We give assignments, which generally, like in most of the year, students are not able to finish them off. There are so many questions inside.
So that
Regarding number of classes, we don't have an upper limit for the number of classes. A student, if he or she asks for one class a repeated number of times, we don't have any problem with conducting them. We don't have any problem with conducting doubt clearing sessions with the students any hour of the day. Like I myself have conducted doubt clearing sessions. I have taken interviews at 2 a.m. for a student whose requirement was like that, because she was working in a particular company where she had to work such kind of shifts that her shift used to end at 12:30 a.m. So she did not have any other way out. Her interview was in front, and like we can be proud of her also. She is right now studying in FMS Delhi. So
wonderful.
we
Wonderful.
have taken her interview even at 2 a.m. So that's why 24/7, all the faculty members, we are an entire group, an entire entity, completely bonded together. So that's what we are really proud of. And I guess that's all. That's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that is
Yeah, Mr. Mohammed,
required.
actually, if you look at it, if I were to compare various institutes across the country, I mean, what should one see? It should see uh, the quality of the faculty. I can
Absolutely.
say, I can say you're among the best in the country.
Absolutely.
Uh, I would like to see the course material.
Yes.
Uh, so you have enough, provided enough of material and inputs, right?
And it's not only the volume, it's like you have to make a judgment whether it's exam specific or not. Like
It
exactly the
is
kind of test that we are going for, is it okay with that standard? That is more important than the volume. So this is something somebody has to look for.
the third I would like to look at is the quality of teaching, the
Absolutely.
hours, etc., which again you match with all other institutes. But what I find that sets you apart is number one, the fact that you have just about 15 students in a batch.
Yes.
Then what happens is it goes beyond teaching and training. It then becomes a kind of a coaching and mentoring situation, because you're hand holding and addressing issues of students individually, you are addressing it.
Yes.
I find a lot of dedication in the team you have when you go out of your way to address somebody's requirements at even midnight. So that speaks about your dedication and the kind of effort you are putting for the student, not only for the exams, but even beyond that in terms of filling up the forms, writing the SOP properly, and guiding the person throughout the journey. I mean, these are, I think, kind of very critical success factors for your institute, Mr. Bauming. I would like to thank you and thank all the participants to be with us today. I would like to thank you
I
for
would like to
taking
add
us.
one more
Sure,
point here, sir.
sure.
The fourth point, but practically one of the most important points.
Please
Like
go on.
we have one of the most competitive fee structures also in
All
the
right.
market. Like,
Okay.
I don't think there is any other institute which provides offline coaching at a price like this. So, if somebody is really that much interested, then obviously he or she can contact us directly and we'll clear out everything. But we can be like very proud of this, that our fee structure in the market is actually one of the lowest, I guess.
So what we request the participants to do is to, if you are planning to take the MBA entrance exams of our country, to contact us. We will, along with the recordings, we will provide the forms in which you will find the details of contact details of both Constellation as well as Study Break Academy. We will provide you the forms. Please do fill it up. There's no commitment that you will have to take an admission. But if you want a free counseling, right, Mr. Bhaumek? If you want,
Absolutely.
if the participants, the students here want a free counseling beyond what we have discussed here, I'm sure there are certain questions in your mind in terms of which are quite personal from person to person. For example, I'll give you an example. You are a student of humanities, right? If you are a student of humanities, you have not done mathematics for many years now, then how do you tackle that? Would you then think of not appearing for CAT? No, that's not the. So that could be a very personal kind of question, which you can ask Mr. Bhomik and his team, and they will be happy to provide you the amount of time to even do the counseling. So, Mr. Bhomik, thank you once again for attending this wonderful session. And as I mentioned to the participants and potential students for CAT, it is going to be a very interesting journey. The entire preparation and hard work, which will fetch you a good percentile, and I hope you do that. Wish you all the best, my dear students and participants, um, and get into one of the good B schools with the help and guidance and tutorship of Study Break Academy. So, with that, I end this session. We shall put the recordings and let you know the location, and you can go into there, have a look at the recording, and also uh, do a fill up the forms and let us know that you are interested. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye
Thank you
bye.
so much, everybody.